like I just talked about how like non-functional your lineup is. All they can really do is like snowball off of kills. So that kind of has to be your mindset for the game. It's just to like.
I should have told Disruptor like, "Hey, come with me."
Yeah, he was also like trying to fucking play 5. So I assume you had you finally managed to get a roll Q5 game.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, and then you had another 5 anyways, which is just also kind of an auto loss. But you know, that is what it is. So let's just like hold on, this is sort of like kind of far in. But like I would rather just focus on like what you do in the first 20 minutes because frankly, Witch Doctor's not a hero after that time anyways. And it's mostly like lane stuff and early warding and just kind of like objective play. Okay, so this item build sucks ass.
I know, but I don't know what else to get. You told me last time not to get as much mana regen, but I didn't know what else to get.
Just buy like Fairy Fire and shit. Like I'd rather have like the mangoes are fine. I would just have like I don't know, like one mango, like double branch Fairy Fire is like so much damage on Witch Doctor. And then you get into those kind of situations, like you know the low HP situations like this. You should have started trading like way earlier with that guy, but if you do that, you take like 2 less auto attacks and you're actually probably alive.
Yeah, I didn't realize.
And if you have a Fairy Fire, you're like 100% alive. So like you know those kinds of things kind of add up, yeah. And also you kind of like doubled down here and decided to spend your like extra money on a stick that was in your backpack for a good minute and a half or something, and then a second salve.
Yeah, well, you always tell me to get more salves for my curry, so I was like, I'm gonna head that one off at the pass.
The number of situations in which you need 2 salves are like very, very low. You always need 1, and that's why I'm like on you about it. It's gonna be a problem if you have 0 and you need 1. If you have 2, sure, you've solved the I need 1 salve problem, but rarely do you actually end up in a situation where you really needed like 2 salves right off the bat.
Well, it was like, I know my career is slow, so I figured I'd just... And I know Witch Doctor is, or not Witch Doctor, when you're just going to be poking PA a lot, so that was my process.
You kind of have to like, you have to
like
find a way to like leverage your first blood gold here. I guess the stick's like whatever. But just buying a second salve, it's like that's 100 net worth that doesn't do anything until you actually use that second salve, you know, which I don't even know when it happens, but it's like a long ass time.
Like a wind blaze, or
yeah, I mean it's not like great. This isn't really a Bassy lane, especially because now you have so much fucking regen. Yeah, honestly, like Windlace isn't even that bad. You could buy a Blightstone, that'd be kind of chad. So both these heroes are like, they're reasonably high damage in the sense that they get to like right click a lot. They have like good animation, good range and shit, but they have shit armor.
Okay.
So if you trade like effectively into these kinds of heroes, you're gonna be pretty good. You're pretty well off, and you kind of like enable your PA because your PA is all physical damage too and whatnot. Like, I mean, that's not like actually good advice. It's just kind of like think more in terms of like what can you actually do to, you know, take advantage of the lane, rather than just like conservatively buying more regen and shit. You need to cut this tree, the big one next to the white one. It's the
pointy one or the yellow one?
No, so there's the white one and there's the big one to the left of the white one. Always cut the big one. And I literally tell my carry to cut that tree every single game. And you're gonna see exactly why you cut it every single game. It's like not optional to not have that tree cut. Like you're fighting this guy, which is cool. You take a debuff, so you like back off for a second. You have to walk, like you just like tank multiple free auto attacks here because you had to like walk that way instead of around like this. Like you never want to walk through that space because you just eat auto attacks. If these players were better, you would have eaten like 5 instead of 2. And I mean, you're landing these autos on the Witch Doctor or on the Windrunner, which is okay, but like you're like eating a lot of auto attacks in extent. Yeah, and like you're doing it again here. The only reason this works is because you're able to kind of cask and sort of get away from him real quick. But again, you took more damage than you dealt there for sure. And oh, I thought you were gonna cut the tree. And like, yeah, I mean, sure, you can like feed this guy your mangoes or whatever. It's not like, but it's not super relevant. So the other thing that happens, Lane. So like already, you haven't been trading you're like trading okay. It's not like the end of the world or anything, because like they're also bad. But had you been like trading perfectly, they'd be like running out of regen, and you guys would have like infinite left instead.
If I'd been trading perfectly, I wouldn't be in this MMR.
Or like, yeah, I mean, it's not even about trading perfectly. Like, I don't trade perfectly, but I would like beat the shit out of these players. You know, it's a sliding scale. You just like play better than the people in your game, and you win more lanes, and you win more games as a result.
Just play better, fivehead.
Yeah, exactly. So the second, well, okay, you had this fucking stick in your backpack for like
I know,
2 minutes, which is upsetting. Genuinely upsetting. What happens here is you should already be aware that this lane's pushing because you have a melee creep advantage. So at some point here, unless something really weird happened, like you're gonna have pretty big creep advantage, and their wave is going to die, and yours they can't trade back into you. This is always like an important thing to understand about lane is like how to capitalize on the fact that you have more creeps than them, because if you fight them and they try to fight you back, they are fighting you and the creeps.
I think I go in here.
And it's particularly relevant when they're these kinds of heroes, you know? Someone's calling me. No cares. It's particularly relevant when these kinds of heroes that have, like, no fucking armor. They cannot tank creeps. Like, melee cores sometimes at least can tank some creeps. Like, these guys cannot do it. So anytime you're fighting them and they're near, like, if them hitting you back aggro's a creep, they're going to lose the trade immediately. And I kind of felt like... I mean, yeah, you're like throwing out spells here and whatnot, which is like good because you kind of gotta use this mana you have somehow. And this guy's still level 1 and you guys are level 2, which is so you're taking good advantage of that. Kind of whack ass melodic, but you know, whatever. And
I didn't. For a second, I thought he was just AFK or he was gonna stay because he wasn't moving, and I was like, oh.
This Windrunner is fucking crazy. And yeah, but so like everything you did here was like not incorrect in general. It's just that you mostly kind of like I don't think you understood like why it's good to do it there exactly. And try out like actively like thinking about those kinds of situations is what's gonna be an important thing there instead of just kind of like.
I mean, I knew we had more creeps, so I just wanted to go in with Q when I had a creep I could bounce it off of.
Yeah, which is good, but instead of recognizing it right as it happens, recognize it's happening 15 seconds in advance, so you're like ready to do it, you know?
Yeah, no, I could definitely do better at that.
And that applies to a lot of things in Dota. It's like recognizing when someone's gonna probably pop 6 in lane, or like, you know, you're gonna get level 2 advantage before them, that kind of thing. And you're not always gonna be correct, but just having the mindset of like, I think this is about to happen, so I want to try to prepare for it as best I can, instead of like panicking in the moment and reacting to shit. I'm trying to focus more on your pathing stuff because the way you control your hero is like definitely one of your biggest problems, just in general. Like yeah. physically clicking, and that's like, hold on. So you're chilling here.
I thought he was like pulling or something.
Right,
I'm like,
okay, yeah. So you check that or whatever. So Wynn's like on this side of the lane, and Rubik's like here, right? Like, he has to be. He's in this space somewhere, or he's literally just gone. If he's gone, great, nothing matters. If he's not gone, there's no reason not to A-click when you're moving across this kind of space. Because as soon as you hit the Rubik, you'll auto him, and you'll, like, start winning a trade with him. Because you win every trade with Rubik until he uses his Fade Bolt. Because you just have more damage and slightly more armor than him.
Yeah, I should have done that.
So there's no reason, like, not... Because there's nothing else you could possibly aggro on in this space except the Rubik. So that's one of those kinds of things that, like, it's a small thing, but so much of Witch Doctor is just right-clicking people early on. Because you have so much damage and so much range and such a nice animation, but no armor and average MS. So if you out-click, you're gonna... Yeah, so, like, you were kind of, like, looking across at the Windrunner instead of, like, you know, being aware of where the Rubik was gonna be. And then you kind of, I mean, you just threw out, you know, 240, 190, I don't know how much math works, 190 mana worth of, like, stuff that, I mean, really, you didn't do that much of that damage. That was almost all just the PA clicking. Because, like, as soon as you dumped your spells, she wind ran. So Maledict didn't really even apply that much. Like, the Rubik clicked you more than you clicked the Windrunner. And this is just a whack-ass dive. But there, and you know, in like 4 minutes in, there's already been all these like crazy low HP kind of situations where like you having that fairy fire, or like you just having like a little bit better right clicking. Like, look how much of a difference it would have made.
Yeah, no, it definitely would have. I was like, maybe I can pull this, and then I forgot how big the...
Yeah. You also, like, I mean, buy more region here is great, but you're like, why does it take so long to bring it out?
Yeah, I was confused. I was originally thinking I was going to TP back, and I wasn't sure what to do.
Like, why haven't you, like, eaten tangos yet?
I'm getting to that after the camp. Watch, I'm going to eat that tree, I think. No, this tree.
Oh yeah, you also, like, planted a random-ass tree here. As that fight was breaking out.
Oh, did I?
Yeah,
I didn't even know that.
It was really funny. I noticed that the first time through. Yeah, I feel like you have like a why are you walking like this?
I didn't know what to do. Well, I knew that I was thinking about going to get runes, but then I was like, no, I can't. And then Pia was like, you need to stop them pulling. I'm like, I don't know how the fuck I stopped them pulling. Because he was like convinced they were pulling, even though the wave was here. So I walked up, and that was. And I'm like, okay, courier's here. Nice.
Yeah, I mean, the way you were in like kind of a dangerous situation with no vision and like kind of low HP, so it was sort of risky to contest that. I think you probably die there in a lot of situations.
Right, I didn't want to.
But then the way you walked was also like definitely wrong. The safest way to do that, you just kill that guy. Yeah, whatever. So it's like you know when this pull is, right? It's like 17, 18, 19, somewhere in that kind of range. Or in, you know, proportionally. So as soon as you're like here, you already know if he's going to be pulling this. Like, you can see it from here. It's, you know, it's still daytime, you have great vision and shit. Like, you didn't need to walk any further than this. This is all you needed to check to see if he was pulling. So, like, that was the safest way to check. And instead you, like, wander into the camp, which, A, is bad because you aggroed the camp for no reason and, like, whacked yourself. But B, like, that's like walking unnecessarily dangerously forward because it doesn't, like, what you did didn't accomplish anything.
Yeah, no. Pia was like convinced.
Anyway,
like,
and then this guy also just should have died like instantly, like when there's no window here.
We got him.
Should not be allowed to exist. And you did kill him, but like he was still just like in the lane for longer than he needed to be. But this is like legitimately why. I mean, obviously people climb with Witch Doctor. I think you climbed 4K with Witch Doctor, like a lot of it. But I really feel like the hero, if you're not like leveraging your early aggression like really well, there's just like better heroes to play because your hero just falls off like a fucking rock. But yeah, whatever.
There's better heroes to play, but are there better heroes for me to play is the question.
I don't really know the answer to that question. You probably do. But I see a lot of these games where you have a bunch of kills, but then you also have a bunch of deaths, and you're like, you just have like a bunch of kills because it's like that's just what Witch Doctor does. Like, he ends up with a shitload of kills. That doesn't like win you games necessarily. It's like unrelated to this, but I hate the fucking tiny players that go mid and they have like 20 fucking kills at the end of the game. They're like, oh my god, I have so many kills, why is my team bad? And they just killed the enemy ogre like 16 times. That shit just like doesn't matter. It like doesn't win you the game.
Look at it go.
What? Oh, that was a power shot and a half. Man, your team was like owning offlane early on, I think. I don't know what happened there.
No, well, you're about to see. I go fucking feed.
Yeah, because I assume you just like decide to leave this lane at some point. Because you guys have had like a pretty good lane so far overall. Like I'm like pointing out things you can improve on, but just in general, this lane is going fine. I'm also just like genuinely upset you've never cut that tree. Whack ass pull happened. This guy has a javelin, he's level 4. Incredible.
Who?
Win.
Does he?
Yeah.
That must have been why he
just fucking bum rushed it. But yeah, so like that free auto you got there on him, like that kind of thing, like that was like just a really good free harassment. That's like the kind of thing you should be doing like all lane as much as possible, because that really adds up. It's like the amount of damage that did to him, like just like missed it slightly. Kind of just you notice he's like kind of randomly out of position, like power shotting for no reason. So like you get an auto attack. That's a lot of damage, right? Like
yeah,
so if you do like 10 or 15 more of those over the 7 minutes of this game, like look how fucking dead he is. or like unable to lane, or has to buy like 10 million more salves or whatever. And yeah, you kill that guy, which is cool. Don't want regen and shit, which is cool. This is definitely where you rushed the tranquils off of like some of your kill gold earlier, which is fine because you should be rotating pretty soon. Generally, you don't really like need the tranquils until it's for the move speed. It's like you're buying your move speed items when you intend to leave the lane. And it doesn't line up perfectly, but just in general, it's like that's kind of what you're thinking about, like when it's the priority to get that stuff out.
So this was a horrific mistake. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna like see what Venture's doing, and Slardar wanted to.
Slardar is just under.
And he was in the trees.
Okay, I don't understand how the Slardar is just like under their tower.
He's in the trees.
Yeah, that doesn't explain why he's here.
And then this is.
Okay, that was. She popped.
I saw he was 5.
I would have gone for this too. This is just. How did he even pop 6?
I don't know. I saw he was 5. I'm like, we're fine. And then all of a sudden.
Hold up.
Oh, was it my
ward
goal?
Ward XP.
Fuck.
I didn't even realize that was shared. I thought that was the support that got that.
Well, is it his sentry?
Yep. Or wait, no. Well, no, it's the Vengeance sentry for sure.
That's fucking crazy. Oh my god.
I didn't know that was shared XP. I don't think it should be, but whatever.
That so wasn't my ward, so I didn't fucking.
Yeah, I mean that's just unfortunate. That kind of timing. But like, why this guy was like trying to dive from under the tower? I don't really know what happened there. That was just kind of whack. What level was that? Thunderstrike max, naturally. Okay. So yeah, I mean, you rotated top. I feel like it was more. Did you like have a plan when you went top?
Disruptor was saying something about like needing to help Slardar.
Yeah. So. Yeah, and then you bought the raindrops after you tanked an entire little. Definitely correct. Good item. But really, like, you wanted when you come up and take over that space top. What are you looking at? Are you actually alt tabbed?
I might have been.
I'm pretty sure you're alt tabbed. Yeah, just like wandering back bottom. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you didn't have like a plan here. You just like you went top because someone on your team was yelling at you. It wasn't even like necessarily incorrect to be there, but it was like there was no deliberation. Just like you did it because Team Angie.
Oh, this is our. So PA was like, "Hey, I'm going top. Slardar, go bot." And I was like, "If we can kill this win, because I'm almost 6 and I've got Maledict." And Slardar didn't come. Like, that was me pinging, I think. Yeah,
I mean, you want to ruin this Luna's game right now. Your hero doesn't really kill it.
Well, PA wanted to farm top. So.
Yeah, so what I would have done here is you guys should have all prioritized, like, taking down all their vision up top, which allows you to kind of rotate in there freely. And then take the tower, free up space for your PA. Instead, you're just kind of like hanging out down here, which got you 6, which is cool. But in general, like your hero, the only hero that your like combination of spells does not work on is Windrunner, and this is exactly why. Yeah, you can kill any hero on the map except Windrunner with Witch Doctors.
Yeah,
this is like the worst possible place you could. What's up, Seb?
Yo,
Bear Fokker.
I'm here to learn. Fokker, oh, I can tell it looks like a U from here.
And now you're just like, I don't know, like now like this isn't your fault, but just like this kind of like shit happening is like your entire team is just kind of like being dragged to an irrelevant part of the map because they think that like being down there is important. Partially because you were down there probably. But again, like now as a result, this tower is not dead. Which is partially your teammates being stupid, because there were like 3 of you guys up there. I don't really know how that happened.
So should I have just let bot push? Because I thought I'd get the XP since PA was leaving. Should I have just let that go and stay top with PA?
Yeah.
Because there were 3 top.
So okay.
It was Disruptor and Slardar and PA already top. I didn't know.
So a good way to think about lanes breaking down, because 3K games don't really break down until like closer to 10 minutes, which is when catapults spawn. So that's when you should consider the most important objective, and the most important objective, okay, we're gonna come back to that one. The most important objective is the safe lane tier 1, because it opens up space for your carry. Like, that's why your PA wanted to go top, because she heard some actual good player tell her that's a good play. She doesn't understand why, but the reason it becomes a viable space to farm is it's only when you take that tier 1 tower. So both teams tend to want to flip the map and cut it, you know, can I draw? Can I draw? Can I not draw in replays, like, at all? Alright, this is upsetting. But it's like, so the river cuts the map in the laning stage, right, in half. It's like that. This is like the dire half of the map and the right half of the map. As soon as lanes are over, that is not how the map works anymore. The map is actually cut through the mid lane, basically. And roughly. It's not that it doesn't work exactly like that, but like broadly speaking, you want to control a sort of one of the off jungles, and then this sort of space over here. I hope you can see my mouse. I actually have no idea. Can you?
I can't.
Fuck
no.
me. I had some drawings of this in.
Basically, after 10 minutes, you want to think of your safe lane as like a creepy ex-boyfriend that's trying to like molest you, and you want to stay away from him. You know what I'm saying?
Oh okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I was liking where that was going at first, but
no.
I had
okay, well, I guess that's a bad example for Cerys. Think of it like a.
Like Gotchi.
I have some drawings.
Love you, Gotchi.
I have okay. Here we go.
Gotchi. I was trying to see if you were alive.
I don't know. You
Alive,
basically
yes. Awake, no.
Your safe lane is like worthless after like 10 minutes, basically. Like essentially, your carry should just. I assume Treebeard already went over this, but like your carry went top, right? But the thing that your carry is doing here that I disagree with is like they're holding the lane static. The carry should just be killing the wave as quickly as possible and then jungling so that the tower pushes in. Yeah, and you can as a support, maybe you can try and push them in the right direction. I don't know. It's
so I found the image that I made for Barrel's Masters team to kind of indicate like what happens to the map as lanes break down and what both teams want to tend to accomplish. They want to, as they take those tier, especially the tier 1 safe lane, because that's the relatively easy one. The tier 2 is a little harder, but then it also accomplishes the same thing. This is the way you want to cut the map to either one or two of the other sort of triangles if you divided it, you know, the other diagonal through the mid lane instead of through the river.
There was a mod for Han where it would go and show roughly what your map control is based upon what towers have been taken, and you should just think about like what towers have been taken and sort of draw a line that's like to connect the dots between your most outer towers, and that is your map control. Yeah, and so if you look at that image, so if you don't have their safe lane tier 1 and your team wants to like farm that little jungle, you know, with your pull camps basically from the safe lane, they are worried about people collapsing from the high ground, like deeper into the jungle, and also the tier 1 tower. It's like you can never really hold these spaces where the enemy can come from two directions. It's more dangerous. It's why the mid tier 2 is so hard to take, because no matter what, you can't really control both sides. And then as you take the tier 2, it's the same thing. It's like, I mean, it's a little safer because that whole high ground is like a plateau. So if you're on the plateau, no matter which direction the enemy comes from, they're coming from low ground. So it's a little bit better, but it's still the same thing. It's like their jungle is totally yours as soon as you get that safe lane tier 2. It's like it's way safer for you to take it over than it is for them in general.
Okay.
It's the one thing that people, even in like 4 and 5K games, even don't do, is they will take that safe lane tier 1 tower and then completely ignore that the enemy jungle exists, and then just go and fuck off to their own safe lane for no reason. They should just be pressuring the enemy jungle and just making sure that you have that as your map control, and they just won't. So.
Okay. Anyways, back to the game. And so then it's already the safe lane tier 1 already should have been down, but like now that you are up in this space, I don't know why you took Voodoo at 7. And now that you are up in this space, like your objective was to kind of like clear out all their vision and sort of establish your vision. Assuming you guys wanted to play here, it's like that's going to be the easiest way. Your guys' team is like so vision dependent because all your heroes do is like kill shit, like kill like an individual target very quickly. So if you guys have vision advantage and get the jump first, that's how you're going to best enable your team. So when you walked into the space with like a ram-ass, hold on, whatever. You're kind of just like chilling up here, whatever. You're buying a dust, I guess, whatever. You're overzoning. You're showing. Okay, also stop showing on waves like this. There's no reason to do this. It actually just grinds my gears when 5 players do this shit. You're just think of like anytime you show on the map is just free information for your opponents. Are they using it? Sometimes, but even just like a lot of players won't think about it actively, but at the very least they'll kind of like see 2 heroes in the minimap and sort of just generally think about, oh, that means there can only be 3 over here, and they're not really like cognizantly thinking about it, but they're more aware of it than you think. So you are just giving information to the enemy team for no reason, and it happens a lot. No, there is a difference between like auto-attacking, which immediately shows you, and then throwing a spell at a wave. If you throw a spell at a wave, nothing shows up on the minimap.
Wait, who's your mid laner?
Ogre. We're not going to talk about it. So anyway, so yeah, you just like wandered in here. You like already showed that you'd been in this lane. You showed to a hero, and then you like dropped a ward without clearing any of this space with sentries. You just like can't do that. You just gave the enemy team a bunch of like free money and XP, and then you still have no vision control up here. This is where like you needed like more sentries to clear this space before ever considering placing a ward there. Or you like drag your kill heroes, which are like your Slaughter, your Ogre, and your Disruptor. Basically everyone you're not playing with right now, and you smoke up with them and like drag them into this space. But now, I mean, whatever. I guess you're taking it safely in tier 1 with like no vision control, no threatening heroes. So you kind of walk up there, they walk a core in, I guess, and then you guys just kind of have to leave. So like, you guys haven't like accomplished anything up here. This is just like your PA kind of farming, and she's farming dangerously. And it's like costing your time to sit here just to make sure she can kind of farm. And I don't know what you're doing here.
I thought maybe if I could, I don't know. I thought I could maybe kill Luna there.
This is like this bizarre kind of like, this is like a laning basically, right? It's like you and the PA are laning against a Luna and Avenge. But it's 12 minutes, everyone has a bunch of ultimates, and like everyone can kill everyone else. But like, so like you can't play the game like this. So I don't really know what your team is doing, or their team for that matter. But like, this like doesn't make any sense. Like what's happening right now. And what this means is that like, number one, your PA really could not safely do this. Again, you're showing just like kind of whatever here. Okay, so this guy finally decides to... Someone decides to actually rotate and attempt to kill a core, and then he leaves. What even happens here? I forgot. I was watching this earlier, but I was only like kind of half-assedly watching. Okay, you did it again.
I know.
Okay.
Who's there?
Finally.
Who is there though? TBH. Hold on, y'all. Give me a second.
Okay.
Hi.
It's me.
Thank you very much. Have a good day. Hey, your pizza's here. Oh. Yeah. Okay.
I want pizza.
Your customer service voice is quite something.
Alrighty, well apparently my boyfriend ordered pizza today, I learned. I'm back.
Where's my pizza?
Your customer service voice is quite something, Jackie.
Thank you.
Okay, anyways. So yeah, so now when your PA, like, I mean, she didn't die, I guess, and does she die here? I have no idea.
No.
Like, whether or not, it's like, you guys have just been sitting up here for like 4 minutes. PA's like barely farming. Now she's like almost dead, so she has to go base or buy a salve or some shit, I don't know. And, like, no objectives have been taken. No relevant heroes have been killed. Now your Disruptor's just dead. Their core...
Well, I was pinging back. I was saying that I had no mana, and he was just like, I'm fucking ulting.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, like, that guy's an idiot. But, like, so in the last 4 minutes, that Luna was probably, like, jungling the entire time and, like, getting pretty good farm, and then she rotated up here. She forced your carry out of the game without coming too much, and then she got a free kill. Like, that's why she's starting to get ahead here.
I thought my starter was going on this.
Yeah. So in general, it's like, you guys needed to, you know, play very differently to take the safe lane tier 1, which would make this game look wildly different, and that is part of the problem. It's like, this game's already kind of weird. But in general, like, you're making decisions to, like, not play with your kill heroes. Witch Doctor's not a, like, sit behind a core kind of hero, except for, like, in very certain situations where you know you could turn, and you know they're gonna go in. You want to just, like,
what am I supposed to do when nobody wants to, like, Slaughter didn't want to fight, and he wouldn't...
They were, I mean, that entire time, I don't really know what was happening, because, again, your camera does not leave your hero. But for 4 minutes, like, your team was, like, doing stuff on other parts of the map. They're not playing in the right area, but, like... you can still just run around and kill shit. It's like enemy morale at the very least. It's like started a fight, I guess, the cost of you dying. Then that kind of shit is just like, why is your team not going in first? Instead, you like tried to walk in there. That's like
I honestly thought Wind was farming jungle. I'm like, I'm just gonna sit here and get these last few hits on the tower.
Oh, is that what that was? Okay.
Yeah. And they're both in the trees.
That was probably a little optimistic. Okay. I think he gets the kill, right? Yeah, because it's Max Thunderstrike. got him, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. These are like, there's a bunch of like botched plays going on here, but it stems from you guys playing blind in the space because you've never managed to like hold a ward here and then play around the ward, and then also the fact that it's like 15 minutes and this tower's still not dead, which is like problematic for a variety of reasons. But it's really just like snowballed your guys' issue, and this is kind of why you're like 2k gold behind already, because this is the big problem with your lineup. It's not that the lineup is like.
Oh, I think this is when Ogre fucking spurgs out at me. So I actually did think about the thing. I'm like, wait, Tree told me not to randomly TP, so I'm gonna look mid. And I was like, I'm gonna go ward mid. And then Slardar was about to get attacked, so I was waiting until the creeps died.
You just showed on a wave again for no reason.
Shut up! I was.
Yeah, so that for a situation like that is perfect. That's exactly why you want to walk out of base.
Wait, there's more. There's a lot more. Wait,
this guy's a fucking psycho. What the shit?
Dude, he doesn't give a fuck.
Okay, yeah, that's a kill. Like,
but wait, there's still more.
What is going on?
This is 110% low 4K Dota. I experienced this in my pubs all day yesterday.
He's dead? Does he have enough passive regen? Probably not.
Nope.
Nope, nah, that's not enough. So yeah, it's like, and that kind of thing only happens because you didn't, randomly TP out of your base. That was really good.
Yeah, well, then Ogre fucking spurred down. He's like, you should have warded.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
yeah, who the fuck cares about that guy? That shit doesn't matter. But the problem is like the first time that kind of situation happened, where like you actually ran around and just kind of like wooled on Witch Doctor, was 17 minutes into the game when your team's like already behind, you barely have any map control and whatnot.
I figured sitting behind PA was better than sitting behind Slardar. PA was actually more aggressive.
I honestly, I feel like I legitimately have solo queued on my 3K account sometimes for shit. If you just like buy smokes and just like yell at your team to like go kill something in like a sort of positive way, it does seem to work. Even if it's like not correct, they'll fucking do it.
Oh, it does. It works extremely well. That's what I do. I have no game knowledge at all, and I just tell my team, we need to smoke now. They're like, okay, sure.
Because like legitimately that kind of stuff is like, when you kill the enemy team, it tilts them. Even if the kill wasn't necessarily worth it. So it's more important to do that than them feeling like comfortable in their game. Even if it's like detrimental in some other way. Like burning all your smokes way too early or whatnot. It's not like you're using them all anyways. Their PA's farming. This guy, this could be a turn. Okay, I wouldn't recommend canceling that. But
I wanted to fucking I didn't want Key to die.
So like that's sort of the problem with like the way your hero has to sit behind when they're like their main kill hero, like Windrunner. She has to commit her Windrun during the kill for you to ever actually like turn that situation, which is just not optimal. You're a much stronger, just run around and kill shit kind of hero. And now you're like centering this space, but it's sort of like whatever at this point. Like even if you found a ward there, it wouldn't matter as much anymore. Like that space was critical when you were trying to take that tier 1. Now I don't even really care anymore if there was vision like exactly on that spot. I would care more about like, okay, how do I sentry to get my next, aggressive ward up? Incidentally, did you place this ward? I don't think so. Is that yours?
No.
No. Okay. Because this was kind of weird because like your disruptor decided to start playing 5 at some point, which was part of why the game was hard for sure.
Well, this is where Ogre yells at me for not warding mid again.
You guys have ward mids. Wards mid.
Yeah,
you guys have like an unreasonable amount of vision mid.
Because he was yelling at us.
Are both of these yours? Yeah, well they're not the same as this one, so I assume those are your wards?
One of them is Ogre's, one of them is Riddick, and one of them is mine.
Oh, the 3 different ones. Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this is some unfortunately like somewhat redundant vision, but also just like not. These are like lane words. They're not 20-minute words. Not exactly.
Well, that's the thing. We never had our lane. Like, I was so confused as to what to do here because waves are never pushed up. Slardar was never really like looking to gank with Blink. I don't know what Disruptor was doing.
Yeah, I don't know what Slardar's doing in this game, but like the only way you guys like start shit is by like finding an opportunity to just murder something, and then when it's been murdered, then you take the tower.
I was waiting to go around with Disruptor or with Slardar, but then he just kind of never.
Yeah, and you can't always make the game like, playable. That's life sometimes. But there's already like, whoops. Now, so your team was like trying to do something mid. Where the fuck are you? Okay, you're like worried.
I TP'd to try and help PA.
Okay, yeah, like that kind of TP is just like you gotta kind of be aware of like when you're actually gonna TP in this kind of situation. And I don't even think this fight is like good for your team in general. Like I think it was very hard to force this the way it had started, but just in general, like that's where you needed to be playing. You needed to be with those guys. If you guys had attempted to take that fight and then lost, I would have said like, okay, well at least you're trying to play correctly with your team and shit. But your team definitely needs some like direction here, and this kind of game I would be like smoking and like pinging my team rapidly to like go up and do something and like giving them a plan. Which you're definitely like don't play 5 that way in pubs, which I think is, I don't know, you're kind of like leaving the game in the hands of your team to some extent. I think the only real way you can positively.
I mean, I'll shot call if I do okay in lane, but I'm not gonna fucking sit there and reveal that I'm a girl after I fucking shit the bed in lane. That's like.
No, you didn't. You were like dominating out of the laning stage. That's all anyone knows. They think you're doing good, probably. But yeah, and obviously, being female in Dota, I assume, is just generally not great. What a fucking build! Holy shit! Losing to that is upsetting.
I mean, it works.
Mm-hmm.
He's a huge issue for.
You just bought yourself a bunch of shit that was not another TP scroll. Also upsetting.
Yeah, I realized that, and I was like, oh no, because I should have been here, and I felt really bad about this actually.
The key is to not play Dota and instead play Final Fantasy.
Probably true.
Probably true, dude. My free company has abandoned me.
But yes, this is the when we like first started talking. This is roughly where I stopped the replay. Is like nothing matters at this point because like you guys aren't falling behind from kills. You're just falling behind because they just have 2 farming cores, and you guys have a bunch of fucking like useless ass single target kill heroes that don't farm.
Oh yeah, and I was like, guys,
you don't have a 4 to absorb space, and Ogre is, Ogre.
This is great. I'm like, guys, let's take the tower, and I'm hitting the tower, and then I don't.
I mean,
no,
again,
he said.
Again, you should have been with those guys. Like what they were trying to do to take to take this tower. Like you guys need to kill their heroes. You can't just like sit on the tower hitting it, because they'll just kill you with their team fight ults.
I'm not.
You have to get the jump with them. It's like your team had the. I'm not saying like they did the correct thing, but they had the right idea in general.
I'm not walking in. I knew Luna was there with a fucking Manta and her ult. Like I'm not. Like even if Invoker wasn't there,
if you're standing with your Slardar and he gets a blink crush on Luna and you drop Maledict and ult, Luna will die. Like she'll Manta off the fucking corrosive haze or whatever, and she'll start walking away, and then she'll get glimpsed back into your ult again, and you'll be in like these trees somewhere. Or if she turns around to try to nuke you, she's already taken so much damage from your ult that like she'll die anyways. But she does not have a BKB. She's not strong right now. Like, she can 100% die to like a number of different 2-hero combinations on your team.
I don't know. PA was saying that he wasn't going in, so I didn't want to commit. I mean, that's why he was standing by the tower with me. He's like, I just want tower guys.
Well, yeah, but you guys couldn't have taken that tower. Had your team not been here, fighting behind their tower and losing the fight, their enemy team would have just walked up behind the tower and taken the fight here and won the fight. Again, like, your heroes don't win fights unless they're jumping first. So you can't just sit at that. That's why your heroes can't sit at a tower and take it. You have to kill shit and then take the objective. And that's why this lineup is like bad. It's very like hard to execute this kind of lineup, especially in 3K. It's also just suboptimal, but in general, like what this lineup is trying to do is very difficult. And that's where like that's why you're not playing correctly. That's like the big takeaway from this game, and really the big takeaway with Witch Doctor in general is like the things your heroes like need to do this game. You're already like perfect for it. That's what your hero does. You just murder shit all like, for 25 minutes. That's your job. So like that, and then like the small kind of the map-based stuff about, you know, like taking this.
I think I'm just gonna start playing Oracle again. I'm so sick of like.
Radiant are scanning.
I don't know.
Oracle's cool. You definitely the problem with save heroes is that you definitely rely on your team to like go in first then.
Well, yeah, but I was hoping they'd go in first now, and they didn't. So it's like fuck.
Yeah, and that's why again, you know, there's nothing about this game specifically that like, you know, matters in the long term.
Shadow Shaman also owns.
Yeah, Shadow Shaman's cool.
No, I don't want to talk about Shadow Shaman ever again, dude. Worst game of my life. The game before this one, fucking. That was the 4-1-1 build Witch Doctor, Legendary Chad Doctor. Yeah. And I fucking did nothing either.
Whatever. And the rest of this doesn't matter. The takeaways are how important this tower is and what your game plan as lanes are breaking down should be, and sort of tangentially related to that, how to like, you know, ward and control that space with both sentries and obs, not just obs. Cerys.
Yes, I know.
Okay. And then other than that, it's just like the little stuff it's like that I point out, like about, you know, like showing in waves and shit. Like I wish you would improve on those kinds of things, but in general that's less important than like understanding why this kind of space matters. Moving and setting up the map for your team to like safely take the safe lane tier 1 as lanes break down will win you more games than literally anything else in Dota as a support. Like that is not exaggeration. Even in 3K. So it was the warding, it was the map stuff, and it was the what was it a kind of important, just the landing stage stuff, but like I don't know, you just need to figure out how to click better. That's like not an easy thing to learn, even if it's important. So I don't really know how to approach that one. I'm just trying to illustrate the things you like could work on specifically, like that A clicking thing and whatnot.
I'm gonna play an Oracle game. If I swear to God, if I cannot get a win before RD12 tonight, I'm going to tell my team that I'm dying. Like, I'm not kidding. Like I can't possibly.
But your biggest problem this game was between 0 minutes and 10-ish minutes, I guess, or like whenever the second time you guys kind of half-assedly sort of tried to take top tower was. Oracle plays the game very similar to Witch Doctor during that time. He's just like runs around and nukes and kills shit. He's not a sit behind your core hero until you have your ult, right? You want to just murder stuff because
I can't win with Witch Doctor.
5 power spike.
I can't win with
I'm just saying, like I'm saying, like don't pick a different hero expecting a different result when you're gonna have that same problem if you don't kind of like identify what your hero's role is early on in the game.
Now I know what the problem is, and it's not like any of my heroes play any differently. Jakiro plays the same way. Like I don't.
Jakiro is very different.
So what am I doing between 1 and 10 minutes that is so markedly different?
Jakiro is just like a spam Q until you auto win your lane kind of thing, and then you play behind your heroes because you require your heroes set up to reliably cast your spells in general. You're not like a run in first kind of thing. You're a slow ass dragon with like long cast points.
I can't fucking win with Witch Doctor anyways, or Jakiro. I'm not. Maybe I pick CM. I don't know. I need something.
I can't not recommend picking CM right now. I don't think the game is very good. I also think that even when that hero is good, that also is like a very high tempo, like take over the map kind of hero. That frankly you just don't do very well.
Maybe I should just go back to League, where all I have to do is sit on my carry.
No, you're
Are you
not.
a Shadow Demon?
Yo, I
gamer?
recently reinstalled League.
Oh god.
And Death has been showing me.
Sev, don't
Carry
encourage her.
me.
No, Sev.
Honestly, the main reason is so that I can get good at League and then be popular in the heal slut server.
Wow. It's not gonna take a lot, dude. Like, just play Katarina or something. I'll play Janna for you.
Katarina was the first one I bought.
I fucking knew it, dude. Every Dota player's like, wait a second.